Hello and welcome to Group D of the round of 24 of ASL Season 19 on this very last day of March. Last week in the opening round of the tournament we had some results that took an unexpected turn, as the round of 16 lineup looks to be completed throughout the next 3 days of play this week. Let's have a word with our 4 players ahead of Group D. Hello, good to have you here. First up, Tier 1 player Light. Hello. Hello. For the first time in a while, you qualify for the main tournament having had to go through day 2 of the qualifiers. Enraged and not dropping a single map in those qualifiers on the second day, you're waiting to play in the tournament proper. What were the qualifiers like for you? It's probably because I hadn't played in the qualifiers for so long that it didn't go well, but I never thought I would get knocked out, and thanks to that I made it through day 2. With you having warmed up sufficiently in the qualifiers and seeing Group D, considering how good you are in TVP and with the possibility of you playing a number of TVP matches today, there are predictions that this should be a really easy group for you. What's your take on this? If I were to play the way I normally do, it would be easy. But recently I've had a bit of a harder time and I've lost confidence. I'm also curious to hear how you would rate the difficulty of playing TVP against Tyson and Bisu. What are your thoughts? I've lost a bunch against Bisu in best of 1 in the past. I think he's demanding. For Tyson, it's hit or miss. The die can either come up with a 6 or a 1. It's tough to predict. I thought we had played before, so I looked it up. And we did, in Season 13. We were in the same group. I remember barely making it out. I don't think today will be easy either. A Protoss who does really well, and a Protoss who is difficult to predict. Even a seasoned player like Light is not expecting today to be easy. Let's now turn to Tyson, who has made his return after a while. Hello. Hello. It's been 3 years since ASL Season 13 as you make your return to the offline stage. How are you feeling? It was tough qualifying. It was difficult to grab this seat here. I want to stay for long, but it's not easy nowadays. You did, however, take down JYJ in the qualifiers with a 2-0, which makes me think you'll have a degree of confidence going into this season. Yeah, I'm confident. And Light? He's having a hard time nowadays. Who will have to focus more? Oh, Light is also struggling physically because you're coming here with confidence in regards to PVT. If you were to advance today, which place do you expect to advance in? If I advance, it'll be in first place. Because it's best of 1? Yes. Tyson says he has a chance of winning. Let's follow up with Tier 2 player Bisu. Hello. Hello. Day 1 of the qualifiers and the first group as well. At that, as you secure your spot in the main tournament, how well warmed up are you today? What percentage of your form? I prepared well. It's usually cold in here, but today that's not the case, so I'm glad. I played a lot and I'm in good shape. Warmed up body, warmed up hands, says Bisu. We've not had the pleasure of seeing you on stream in quite some time, and so many fans will be curious as to how you're doing nowadays. What have you been up to? I've been under the weather. I'm getting older and I can feel it in my bones. We're the same age, man. Yeah. So anyway, I've taken some time off. I got better. I'm feeling better. I plan on streaming again. I'll advance today and stream. I bet a lot of fans will be hoping for a good result from you today then. Let's have a word with Killer 2. Hi. Hi. You returned to the ASL after a year, having played in Season 17. I wonder as to how you're feeling this season. What are my feelings? You know, I'm not really one to practice as much. So today I've just come with a mindset to play relaxed. Is there a reason behind you not practicing as much? Is that because you're already feeling confident? I normally do practice, but this time we also had a university match that I had to oversee, had to help with. So I didn't have as much time on my hands. I can believe that you've run some mental simulations ahead of this anyway. You did make it out in first place in Season 16 after all. So there will be fans expecting you to throw some punches today. What are your own expectations? Let's start with, this is not an easy group for me. But I have confidence regardless, and you never know how a best of one will go. It's good people have these expectations for me. If you were to throw one punch, who is the opponent to take that punch? My first opponent here is Bisu, in any case. Wouldn't taking him down be good, methinks? He's not practiced as much, and yet he feels confident going up against Bisu, says Killer. Can't wait to see this match. Let's keep talking about Group D now. As Light has just said, we already had a group in Season 13 with Light, Tyson and Bisu, with the exception that instead of Killer, there was Saxry. So quite a similar group as today. I wonder how Tyson feels looking at this group. What memories are left of that? Whenever I make it through the qualifiers, it's always tough players. But Light and Bisu, they are just at the very peak. It's not easy. It's not easy, but I'll do my best. A vicious group for yourself, you're saying. Yeah. Got it. Now, the Tier 1 and 2 players in this group always play well against their respective opposing races, which makes many predict there's going to be a fierce match between the two. While Light took down Bisu 4-2 in the round of 4 in Season 13, their head-to-head is an even 4-4. If you were to end up meeting today, how do you guys think the match would go? Light? I don't know. It's been a while since we last played. Recently, last time, I lost. I got caught off guard by a surprise strategy. I'm curious as to what he prepared, how he prepared for today. I can't make a prediction. As you say you're curious, from your expression I'm reading, bring it on, go ahead and try, with a sort of confidence. Bisu, if you were to play Light today, with how fiercely you've competed in the past, how do you expect today to go? Thinking about it, I would lose in Extended Series and beat him in Best of 1. And to expand on that, I pretty much always won the opening game in the round of 24 and the round of 16 alike. So my Best of 1 has been strong. Today, what gets me worried a little bit is I took a bit of a rest, so I don't know Light's condition, his strength. Oh, it's tough for you to predict that? Yeah, that's one thing. It feels to me you need to use the match against Killer to get yourself in top shape. But from Killer's perspective, he likely wants to get payback on you, Bisu, as well. Now, it was a while ago, 7 years ago, in Season 4 in the round of 8, where Killer lost 0-3 to Bisu. It was decided very quickly that day. Killer, you must have sufficient aspirations to take Bisu down, but me bringing up this history between you, is that also some extra motivation? Oh, it was so long ago, I can't remember it well. But because Bisu is much older than he was then, I will try and get him this time. Oh, he's not that old. Oh, compared to then. Let me rile you up more. That game didn't even take 1 hour. It was 37 minutes 51 seconds that victory was decided. Are you trying to make me feel bad? No, I'm trying to motivate you. Oh, I see, okay, I'll try my best today then. Can't wait to see what Ruckus Tier 4 and Tier 3 players will cost today. Let's close things out with final words of resolution from each of you. Light, a new season is starting after a while. I want to do well. I want to aim higher than the round of 8. I want to get to the semi-finals, the finals. Looking forward to it. Tyson, I'll do my best. Good. Bisu, I practiced a lot. Please expect good things. I'll advance and come back to streaming. Can't wait. And Killer, I'll make sure he doesn't stream again. Okay. Looking forward to great games from the four of you. Thanks for the interview. And that does it for the opening interview with the 4 players of Group D of the round of 24. Let's kick things off and see which 2 will stay alive in Group D to advance to the round of 16 and fight another day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Group D of the ASL Season 19. It was an amazing week. We got all the way through Groups A through C. We're coming back strong here with 3 more days before we go into the round of 16.
I do love the round of 24 for that. And you know what else I love it for, Tasteless? Is the craziness of best of ones. And I think that this group triple underlines the craziness of best of ones better than any other. If these were best of 3 matchups, I would give like 85 to 90% chance of Light and Bisu both getting out. But because it's best of 1, I'm like, there's so many upsets that can happen. Tyson is really good against Terran. Killer is just really good in general. Obviously, Bisu and Light are much better players, but in a best of 1, anything here could happen.
This is one of the brutal things about best of ones in general, right? Like, in an ASL, anybody can take a game off anybody, generally speaking. There's very few exceptions to that, maybe Flash or Sulky being the kind of players that are almost immune to any kind of cheese. So, yeah, I agree 100% with what you were saying, Artosis. Like, Light and Bisu are supposed to advance, right? If either of these 2 players don't advance, it's one of the biggest upsets the entire round of 24. But Killer and Tyson are good. They could absolutely pull something off.
They are really legit. In fact, I would say that the most one-sided matchup in this group might be if Killer and Tyson play. I don't think Tyson's going to be able to take him out, but like everything else I could see going any way. I do think that Bisu is in great shape in PvT right now. Light is always on top of his game. I think it's going to be a really fun group.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have Light and Bisu back here. 2 huge fixtures in modern StarCraft. Both of these guys kind of not, I think, going as far as you and I expected, Artosis, in the last couple of years. I mean, Light's looked amazing, but when Flash had to step down, it wasn't exactly like Light just took his place as number 1. In fact, it was really several other Terrans that rose up and managed to kind of fight for that position of who's top dog. And we've had a lot of really great seasons of really interesting Terran games. And Bisu as well is somebody who, he's definitely been more consistent than Jaedong, but not able to be in the form that he was in like 2007, 2008.
Yeah, I would still put, though, those 2 as, like, I think Light is probably overall the strongest Terran, and I think a lot of Terran players think that. Like, a lot of people look to Light for how to play, but his style maybe doesn't line up with ASL all that well, so he hasn't had that. Like, Rush's style lines up better. He's more willing to mix in some more aggressive plays, some more greedy plays, that type of thing, whereas Light tries to grind you out, which doesn't always work in small, prepared matches. And as far as Bisu, like, if it wasn't for how well Flash has performed in this new era of StarCraft, then we would all be worshiping Bisu, because he has been like a top 100%. 3 or 4 Protoss in the world basically this entire time. And I'll be honest with you, Tasteless, he's one of my almost somewhat dark horse picks to take the season. He's in really good shape. He is grinding a lot. He's playing a ton of games right now. Bisu looks very, very good.
Yeah, that's a good point. The narrative is kind of screwed up because Bisu, look, he was like the best Protoss when Flash was the best Terran, but Flash has been kind of taking all the oxygen out of StarCraft 1 for, a decade-plus period of time by just not losing that. It's funny, you're right. Bisu from the early days, basically the pre-StarCraft 2 era, he's been the best player.
Yeah.
The guy that was successful back then is still able to hang with the best of the best now. Yeah. So that is a great way to kind of bring it into perspective here.
Well, this first match is actually one I'm really excited about. Light here, he's for Terran players, man. Like if you don't actively play Terran and study Terran all the time, I feel like your opinion of Light isn't as high as anyone who does do that, because he is the ultimate macro Terran. Like, his macro is not worse than Flash's, just to put this out there. But, you know, his build order diversity and some of his decision making might not be quite Flash level, but he's like unbelievably good. He's so great to study. But Tyson is flying under the radar hard. He is the reason why JYJ is not in this tournament. He smashed him in the qualifiers on day 2 and was able to get in. His PVT is really, really good.
I might go as far as to say that Light's style does almost feel a little bit older.
Yeah.
Compared to the other Terrans. And that might sound weird because, you know, he's been so good in the modern age, but yeah, it's more of like a muscle Terran almost.
Yeah.
You know, like he's gonna lift the heaviest weights. He's just gonna kind of hold off all your attacks, and eventually he's gonna bench press you into the, you know, the next season of ASL as he moves on to the round of 16.
Yeah.
We're actually going to this game already, guys. Light versus Tyson, best of 1 on Eclipse. Let's do this. Okay, Tyson here in the bottom left.
No, top right.
I'm sorry, Light here in the bottom left, excuse me, is Terran. Tyson in the bottom right.
Top right.
Top right. What is going on with me?
I don't know.
Start
man.
the cast over. I can't do it tonight, guys.
I hope they do some deep macro builds, Tastosis.
Yeah, I hope I mentioned deep macro builds when nobody is actually going for Nexus first here. Appreciate you guys in the audience from Canada. Excellent. My favorite co-host from there.
I'm not from here, Tasteless.
You're
unless
from
you're
there,
talking
so you went
about
back
someone
home.
else.
That's where you came up with the idea for Crazy Zerg, man. We all know the story.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tasteless.
No, I was just going to say, this is a map that I think is pretty tough for Terran. If they go for, you know, trying to get a third base is really difficult. Gas steals are common, which I think is what we're going to have here now. And also, yeah, I mean, it's a map we've seen a lot of. I think it's one of these maps where, like, Terrans really have to have perfect openings from start to finish in order to survive here.
Indeed.
And in this case, it's going to be Tyson probably stealing a gas and then going into it's been more trendy now to go for, you know, Gateway Nexus after you do the gas steal.
That's I think the best play overall, and I think you're probably right that he'll go for that. Light goes for like that very, very fast barracks with this. That's definitely something that I've been stealing from the pros lately. You get that barracks up right before the probe gets in. Everyone's probe kind of shows up at the same time now. It's been so mapped out. But, you know, he gets that wall, and that's important. Like, if there was a proxy gate, you'd be able to hold it pretty easily with this SimCity.
A lot of the strategies from the older days were around putting a lot of pressure and then teching to try to hit the Terran. The last couple of years, however, it's been more about getting a gateway and then a Nexus. But this is a different build from both of those. He's going to go for gas steal into Nexus first.
Yeah, this is actually quite good too. This popped up like a while ago on Eclipse, like before Eclipse went out of the map pool. And I actually started scouting on like 10 to block that because it felt so strong. And I think it is strong, but the thing is, Terrans have this mapped out very well now, where you scout this with your SCV and you're like, oh, okay. You just basically skip your bunker for a long time. So you'll make like a couple Marines here. You'll start to kill your gas. You'll make your command center. It'll be a bit later than your opponents. But like, everything's super streamlined now.
Is there any kind of recourse Terran has with this? To be frank, Nexus first into gas steal into Nexus first is not something I'm totally familiar with. It's not something I've experimented with, but it doesn't feel safe when I look at it. But then some of these quick Nexus builds can be pretty deceptively safe if executed correctly.
There's like occasionally you'll see a Terran try to bunker rush and expand. I think that's the worst thing you can do, because if you have a millisecond lapse of micro, then you're going to get crushed. Now, this is fake. Like, he's sending the Marines, but, like, this is not something that you would think can actually kill him. You know, probes and zealots can, like, knock out SCV Marine pretty hard. This is cute, though. It's like a good try.
Oh.
350. Literally a finished bunker, Tasteless. This is what it is to be a Terran player, Tasteless.
I have never seen that.
You
I didn't
don't
even know
watch
that
my
was
stream?
possible to get to full, to get to literally full HP,
No.
but it's also not done.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so funny.
I guess Tyson's just better than Light, Tasteless.
You know, it reminds me, the little bunker push out there reminds me of what we've seen against some Zergs, where you're trying to kill drones. The bunker's not really there to like end the game. It's not like the classic bunker rushes we had in the first couple of years of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, instead this game goes on with the expand up for the Terran. This is when I should have brought up the deep macro play, by the way, and how all the rules are very, very different. So Protoss goes for Robo first because you don't really know what the Terran's doing, and that really matters in this game because it's a second barracks here.
Yeah, this is going to be a Marine medic all in from Light. Now, Light is actually really good at this. A lot of Terrans used to try to do this, and then it just stopped working. If he goes immediate Reaver, if Tyson does, then we're going to have our first upset of the day, most likely. Like, Reaver is... A lot of people like that are more of StarCraft 2 fans will come over and watch. They're like, why can't you go bio? Is like Psystorm too strong? It's like, no, that's actually not it. It's literally just the Reaver is impossible to deal with. It comes out so quickly. It is just such a hard counter to bio that you just don't really have any play against it.
Yeah, well, and the other thing too is that even if you don't have a Reaver, depending on what composition you have, you can kind of fight bio.
Yeah.
Like with a couple of Dragoons with range, you can actually kite it. You'd be surprised what you get done with it. I'm sorry, were there medics with this? I didn't see any.
That's just Marines going right now. So he's going to start
Marines,
with,
right?
Yeah, he's going to start with peer pressure. Like he might, like he definitely has an upgrade going in his academy. And the thing is, it could actually be either Stim research is quicker, so I assume it's going to be Stim, but that's like a super one-way trip. Like, he has to get a ton of damage with this. And he might go into Factory from here. Like, this is... I've never seen anyone quite do it like this. But
this is really smart,
yeah,
I think.
This is very
gonna
cool.
hit before Reaver, basically no matter what. So, I guess, yeah, how funny. So, 3 SCVs in the front.
Wow.
The bunker comes down here. This is, I think, about 12 Marines. He's got a really good path to send the probes here. Probes are actually really strong against Marines when they drill. Oh my god, the flank with the Dragoon getting in the way here. The Dragoons are starting to win the fight, and actually, once again, it's like a glitch in the Matrix here. It's now 2 bunkers that are not finished that SCVs were pulled off of.
And
wow.
That is the rush completely crushed. So he better have a factory being made right now. I believe he does have 2 factories being made. So this was not something that I have not seen this. I'm not sure what he got. Okay, he's getting the secondary upgrade. Like, we didn't hear any stims, right? So I think he might have gone range. Like, range Marines in a bunker have the same range as range Dragoons. So, like, range is actually good against range Dragoons. In fact, it's better than Stim is. But Stim is better against everything else in this matchup. So, like, that's a very interesting idea that we saw from Light there. And if Tyson hadn't had such a great probe drill, maybe it does something there.
I almost wish that Light had won with that, because that would have been such a beautiful victory. Like, talk about an upgrade that's never even talked about in this matchup, which is Marine range. Finishing and basically in a complex bunker rush, you gun down the Nexus, and there's just no way to stop it because Dragoons with range can't outrange a bunker with Marines with range. So, very cool. It's too bad it backfired. I guess one of the predicaments for the Terran is you don't know where they might have hidden a probe or a spotter on minerals. You can kind of drill through any angle if you just look at the way the expansions are fanned out on the map from your third to the top left to the 2 bases on the bottom right. You could kind of probe drill anywhere, right?
Yes. Very, very true on that. And, you know, the probes surrounding the Marines, man, it's tough. Like, if your Marines get surrounded by anything, like, it's the same against Zerg, actually. If you try to do, like, an 8 racks and they actually get the surround with the drones, you're screwed, you know? Like, you need to keep the Marines and utilize their range. So, unfortunately, Light not able to do too much there. The follow-up from Tyson is as close to perfect, I think, as you can get. Light right now is focusing his scans mostly on getting rid of observers, which is okay. But he hasn't seen the carriers. Like, his main scan missed the Stargates. Oh, And he scans. See, he did a double scan there because that's where people normally hide carrier tech, and it scans for the third nexus, so that was perfectly placed. I actually saw him move his box over exactly to that location on the screen. So he now knows that it's going to be carriers on the way, and also there is Reaver tech. So this is very tricky because, like, Marine Medic, if there's, like, no splash damage, they actually do well against carriers because they kill interceptors really quickly. You know, you stim and you have a critical amount, and that's good. But the thing is, how do you get into position to attack when your opponent has Reaver Shuttle? Like, you can leapfrog your siege tanks, but that's going to take a really long time to push.
Dragoons with Shuttle Reaver, it's kind of the perfect tech to have to get into carriers, because Terran is never allowed to just shove into a fight. If they ever just try to unsiege everything and walk at you, you can use the Dragoons to kind of be the meat shield, and then have the Shuttle and Reaver just fire so many shots. They'll always lose. So it's really scary, because generally the way that Terran beats a Protoss player who's going for carriers early on is to basically kill it in its crib, to stop the carriers before they're able to be effective, before there's enough interceptors, before there's enough carriers, where you have that cumulative damage where you can play keep away, snipe Goliaths, and, you know, basically cause the Terran hell. But yeah, I mean, the tech setup from Tyson here is looking perfect, and he's about to take a third base down here in the bottom right.
I really like it. I like how Tyson has played this. I really think he's playing as close to flawless as you can get here. Like, it's just so smart. Light doesn't really have a good timing attack here. And this is, like, the best map to go fast carrier on. Because Terran, you know, the thing against carrier is you have to find a timing and push and punish them before the carrier numbers get out of control. But on Eclipse, that's incredibly hard, because with the two main paths going around, there's no way to swap in between them. So if you attack up one, they just counterattack down the other. And base trades don't work in Terran versus Protoss. Like, it makes it very tough.
He just like went through a blind spot. I think Tyson literally just doesn't see this. This is insane.
Well, he's killed so many observers this game. This actually might end up winning him the game. This is insane. Yeah.
If he doesn't realize, he may have caught the glimpse. I mean, he's moving stuff back, but he still has all these Dragoons over here to the side. This is how I lose my games sometimes, is I've somehow just either not been watching the minimap, or they just get through some kind of a blind spot. And I'm not ready. And look, I mean, if Terran can siege up right outside your natural, they're halfway there. Especially if they can throw down turrets, because you need a really high amount of carriers for this to work. And I guess Protoss wants to counterattack.
It looks that way. This is absolutely insane that Light got around there, but he was scanning to kill observers all game long, so he was putting the effort in to be able to do a move like this. But Tyson here, just with like a counterattack, this is not working well for him right now, to say the least. But he pulls the Dragoons back. He needs to make sure he doesn't waste these Dragoons. If he can stop mining at the natural, that'll be pretty good. But look at all these turrets there are. Like, Light is kind of prepped for this.
I mean, if Tyson can snipe the 4 tanks on the high ground, maybe, but I'm a little bit worried he's already thrown too many ground units into the meat grinder here. I mean, he's going to finally kill this 3rd tank, but I don't know how effective this is going to be. I mean, so many Zealots and Dragoons on the low ground have been killed. The SCVs are surrounding the Dragoons on the low ground now, and, like, I mean, maybe if he had 4 carriers, he could actually breach this point. I guess we should also point out that nobody's mining at their natural right now. Maybe Protoss has like 2 or 3 patches mining, but basically it's not a base compared to what it should be in a game like this.
Man,
this is crazy.
I can't believe
I think
that
Light takes this.
I think that
oh my
you're
God,
right.
he's going to get the command center.
I think he is going to get the command center. Okay, he gets the command center. He still has some Dragoons. He didn't lose any carriers, which is incredibly important. Some tanks come back to ensure that all the goons die. He needs to pull the carriers back. Oh, no!
Oh.
Dude. Light just is making magic this game. You play this game out like 100 times, and Terran should be losing it 99. I'm not joking. This was such a terrible position. And Light has just made magic by walking around the map and sieging up and super defending his main base. Now, the game isn't 100% over. There's still the 2 carriers on the bottom. He's trying to break through here. He's reduced the amount of anti-air a little bit. He has a lot of Dragoons. I don't know. Maybe there's still a shot.
No, I think this is done. I think the carrier count is too small, and with the Marines with Stim, I mean, well, if he got Stim, but either way, the Marines, the turrets, the Goliaths, especially Marines in a bunker, it's going to be too much damage. I don't think he can get anything done. He can basically never break this position that we're looking at right now.
If he had 2 more carriers being made, I'd give him a much better shot. But he's almost out of minerals at this point. Light has enough Goliaths. The missile turrets help a lot. The Marine medic helps a lot. He's going to try to start picking things off, but Light is starting a new command center. I think Light's done it, man. It
does feel like he's done it.
This blows my mind.
Well, this was such a weird game. I hope we can go back if they load up the replay. I want to see that move through the blind spot. It was subtle, but you pointed it out, Artosis. There was a lot. GG, Tyson taps out, Light wins. Light shot down a lot of observers,
yes.
And then somehow, like, snuck very quietly his entire army all the way around, basically threaded that needle right through the contain, set up at the natural, and I think it was panic mode for Tyson. Tyson had to do this huge counterattack that, like, I think, frankly, wasn't anywhere nearly as well executed as the attack from Light. He kind of threw his ground army away when maybe he should have just used the carriers to snipe the tanks. And by the way, Light, crazy response to gas steel Nexus first. Never seen anything quite like that.
True, me too. This is a game I think that Tyson is going to really regret for a long time. If he just clears that push as natural, like, he was so far ahead. It's crazy how far ahead he was. Like, strategically, everything he was winning on, he had everything correct, except he missed that push completely, and then he did that counterattack. Wow. I mean, that just shows the level of Light that he pulled that victory out. Very well done.
Yeah, that's just wild to me. I mean, that was looking like it was going to be like an 8-2 matchup there after he failed with the rush. You know, 2 barracks, his factory's just starting. Reaver Tech out for Protoss, and he's going to go into carriers on 2 bases. It looks like it should be impossible. But, you know, if Tyson's unable to play out that advantage and Light can figure out some kind of a way, well, then he wins. And here we are. Guys, short break coming up next. Protoss versus Zerg with Bisu versus Killer. Welcome back, everybody. What an insane game, man. I can't believe we saw a rush like that. I was just talking at the start of the game about how I don't really know how, one truck manages to hold off Gas and then Nexus first. Is there a way to punish him? Feels unsafe. And then Light shows us the answer, but miraculously Tyson still holds and makes for a crazy and very unique, kind of a one-in-a-million game.
It really was, and that's something that Tyson will never let happen to himself again. I do think that my hype of Tyson there about how strong he is in the matchup, we saw it. Like, he was, I mean, Light kind of tricked him and snuck his army into a really, really unbelievably strong position, and Tyson screwed up from there a little bit, but, like, everything else, Tyson, like, again, you put him in that position 100 times, he's winning it more than 90. Way more than 90. Like, that looked completely unwinnable for Light. I was sitting here with my smug smile on my face. I'm like, I knew it. Tyson's great. But that's a rough one. And now I don't hold much hope for Tyson in this group anymore after that.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, not having everything spotting when they leave their base is, I mean, that is how games are lost, right? It's
absolutely
not exactly the most interesting game to look back on, right? Because you just, he didn't see him leaving. But basically that was Light playing at like 100% the entire time. And even when his strategy basically failed, and in theory his position would be unwinnable, he just saw that one opportunity and went for it, and it worked.
Yeah. I tell you, this man here, I have such a gamer crush on Bisu Tasteless, even though he's a Protoss player. He even chooses the best intro music. It's wonderful.
I was going to say, My Chemical Romance. This is a throwback.
Dude, this is actually my most listened to album. Love it. But Bisu is... Yeah. Black Parade is the greatest album ever, Tasteless, I think. But, yeah. Bisu is... Like, dude, I cast him so much. People that watch my casting channel, shout out to our Tastosis cast on YouTube, are probably getting sick of it because he plays so much ladder and he is so good in those games, Tasteless. Like, Bisu is a killer. Well, this is killer, but Bisu is in, like, really superb shape. I'm loving his play right now, and I think he'll be able to take out Killer and probably Light as well.
I just get the impression Bisu is never stopping Brood War. He basically never walked away from the game. He's been here forever. He's going up against Killer. Killer is very scary. He is definitely able to take out a lot of the favorites here of this whole tournament. We're going to go into that best of one, back on Eclipse, Bisu versus Killer. Let's go. Okay. Down here in the bottom left is Bisu, and in the top right is Killer. This is, Eclipse is a map we've probably seen more of over the last couple years than almost any other map.
Yeah.
It was in the map pool for a long time, and it's actually back in the map pool. There was a period where I felt like the maps really didn't change on ladder. I mean, was this like 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah.
But, this has proven to be, honestly, in this matchup, a pretty interesting map. You have two different directions that you can expand into, and both of them have pros and cons. We've also seen Forge expand, pretty common, but Bisu's going to make a pylon in the main. Whoa.
Ooh, already very interesting. That's cool. What is he doing?
I feel like we never see him do one base, which is crazy. I feel like maybe the most common player to do one base stuff is probably Mini.
For sure.
And then maybe Snow, but one base PvZ is extremely hard to pull off. You do see people win, but okay, he's going to go around the blind spot. So this could be there's an opportunity to cannon rush if the Zerg went for hatch first, which he's not doing. He's gone for pool. He did the extractor trick.
Hey, it was specifically a 9 pool here. Is this I guess it's going to be a 2-gate opener? He puts the 2 gates down. That is specifically something we've seen Mini do a lot in the past. But is this supposed to, like, if you're doing this build, Tasteless, are you hoping for hatchery first, or are you actually hoping for a pool first? Because
Well,
like with
I
pool
think you
first,
hope
it's
for
less larva, right? So like you could, that might allow you to put on even more pressure.
Well, if it's hatchery first, I think you would have made a forge instead of a gateway for the second building.
Oh.
And you would have cannon rushed.
Yeah, okay.
But if it's not, then I guess what you do is you're 2 gating, and then you throw this pylon down here. And so you're really tripping up the Zerg's build. It's not that common to see people go for 9 pool with no speed. This is like it can be kind of scary versus like gateway first openings because they can really put a lot of pressure on the gateway. But when I say gateway first, I mean gateway expand openings.
Yeah, yeah. This I find this kind of funny because like
what are you laughing at?
I'm like asking you about what you think, like, oh, you know, which one are you looking for, and then as you explain that decision making process and what you're looking for, I'm like, oh, and I'm like imagining myself at like an old timey show with a magician, and I'm like, oh, and I'm clapping. I got like a cigarette and a long stick and like a feather hat. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this is very entertaining. Okay, but he's gonna move out.
This is my casting mentalism right now. I'm a mentalist here, wowing you. I'm like, was the word you were thinking is Protoss is OP? And you're like, ooh, that was the word phrase in my head.
How do you do that? That's so amazing. But look, right now, Bisu, this is like an old micromap thing. 3 zealots and 2 probes coming up. This can kill a lot of Zerglings, especially if you take the ramp. So let's see what type of damage he can do.
This.
Yeah.
So he can block the ramp, and probably with just I guess not. Okay, I think he was going to try to set that up. It didn't quite do it right. The probes are kind of on the outside here. You basically don't want the probes exposed like this because obviously if they die off, you're down 3 workers. This is looking really bad for Bisu. But you know, at the same time, the hatchery at the third base is taking damage. The other Zerglings are basically running interference to make sure that these zealots can't get inside, and one's almost been picked off.
He's trying to run them down to the more zealots that are coming out, and the 3 in that third base area, or I guess it's the second base this time, but they are putting a lot of damage on the hatch, but I don't think they're going to be able to kill it.
Oh, man. He's got, you know, the zealots on the ramp surrounded. The placement is actually pretty good for Bisu. If he can keep the 2 injured zealots kind of safe here, like he can use them as bait and run away, he might be able to do this, but this is going to go one way or the other. He's actually got some great kills there on those links. That was incredible. He just needs to keep the injured zealots like in a position where it's tempting to attack in, but you can pull them away. 3 of these zealots, I believe, are nearly dead. And
yeah.
I think had we not seen the 4 or 5 snipes with those zealots, we would probably already be out of this game.
Dude,
even now, it's not over. The zealots are going to push. The lings are going to try to set up for a surround. Now that ling speed's done, these zealots are actually a lot weaker. It's much, much harder to make them work. But Bisu's going to go for it.
Bisu has over twice the supply of Killer right now, which I think is really funny. And he just started his gas. Now he's going to attack in. There's so many Zerglings you would imagine Killer can finally kill these off. And of course, he has a sunken colony on the way as well. So Bisu actually starts to pull back. I think that was basically the perfect pullback timing as well. Bisu is like, he is so impressive. The fact that he's just like, I don't know, I'm going to kill your base, and like I'm playing one base here. His zealots just don't die. I'm like watching this wondering, should zealots maybe have more health and do more damage? Because like Killer here like literally goes pool first, makes tons of lings, and can't stop anything.
Well, you know, I wonder if it would have been better to take the zealots and run them underneath the mineral patch at the expansion and force him to kill another drone by turning it into a sunken colony. That's what I've seen with Mini or Snow when they do these kind of builds, where it's like a little bit less about trying to take the fight, but instead it's about trying to entrench yourself in a position on their side of the map, ideally behind their minerals, where they have to like really ineffectively trade to fight you off. Now, you might be looking at this and wondering, okay, why don't we see more 2-gate in general? Oh my God, it was almost the perfect block. That was insane.
That was pretty crazy. Only 2 ended up getting in. I thought for sure he was going to get more than that. And he will probably lose a probe or 2 here, but pretty good defense so far. He hasn't lost a single probe as of yet. He continues to hold the ramp. The Stargate is coming. Tastosis, just real quick, Is there any world in which he can go scout here?
Actually, we need to take a look at the Zerg's base. It's not
He's going
completely
layer.
out of the question.
Like, obviously, Bisu doesn't know exactly what buildings are in there, if a layer is on the way. I'm looking at this, and it reminds me of my scout build that I used when I PvZ.
So if you could make a scout if they were doing a Ling all-in and they kept throwing Lings at you, and you knew they didn't have any development, usually that would have been after, like, that Zealot rush had killed a lot of drones. That's basically the only time you can make a scout. I don't even think you have to make a scout to win. But if you know they're, like, basically not mining gas and they're just continuously making Lings and you're just trying to hold this off barely, then I think it's okay. This game's not going to be one of those games. He's going to get a Corsair. He's coming in here. He needs to figure out, okay, what is the tech? And this, by the way, is where Protoss falls off dramatically. Is that when they're trying to get their expansion up, their second gas is so late, it's really hard to get anything that you want. All the good stuff that Protoss has that fights Zerg in a meaningful way that's not like Zealots and Cannons costs a ton of gas. Even the stuff that makes, like Zealots as an example, good, cost gas as in +1 attack and armor or Zealot charge or speed, I guess we call it in StarCraft 1. So this is where the Zerg can kind of find their balance. That being said, it's a pretty scrappy, low econ game. I am very curious to see how Bisu plays this out. For me personally, I'm always totally fascinated by good Protoss players that can beat Zerg starting off on one base. Maybe in part that's because you deal with a lot of random players on ladder, and so you end up in a lot of these games where you went like one base kind of hoping they would either be Terran or Protoss, and you scout them last, and you go, oh, all right, well, we're going to have a really obtuse game where I feel like I'm just at a disadvantage.
Sure.
But this game, he's sent more Zealots out. By the way, he's made a ton of Zealots. He's teched very slowly. He's going to once again... Oh, hold on.
What?
He's got the mutas chasing us now.
Yeah.
He's going to go underneath. He's going to pull a light over here. Oh, he's just going to send it back.
He was watching that light game. He's like, oh my God, there's a path down there that you can attack on. It's crazy. He actually canceled his Citadel, Tastosis. Why would Bisu cancel his Citadel?
Because he needs cannons right now. You can get clobbered so easily here if you don't have enough Corsairs. By the way, I think if you lose even like one Corsair, you're really behind. The fact that the Zerg has had 2 gases for longer means he can make a lot more mutas, he can make a lot more Scourge. And this is where Protoss is having to spend so much money like making cannons and getting Corsairs that the rest of the tech gets slowed down. Like that Citadel that was delayed, because we know he's eventually going to get it right, that's been delayed in part because you just need a ton of cannons. This then later on delays the Templars. It just becomes a really tough game to play. So he's going to get +1 air attack, and he's kind of setting up for one of these pushes we've seen from Bisu a million times before, but off of a late second base. So he's going to have +1 attack with Zealots. He's going to try to micro his Corsairs perfectly, and he could end up finding a timing where he could basically shut down this third or maybe even bust the natural.
This is kind of cool. Like, the Zealots are slow, but there are very, very many of them. A lot of the money of Killer has gone into Mutalisks, so the Corsairs have good potential at just wrecking. Yeah, it looks like he's going to maybe try to attack the third base. I'm not sure. Is he posturing? Is he sharking around the map? Or is he actually going to go?
I think he's trying to make him not make drones, I think.
Okay.
But, you know, if he has +1 attack, I mean, if the Zealots can just get to a hatchery or get to anything of value, they are going to win that fight. +1 air attack, by the way, is not done, so this is very, very dangerous. Seems like that Dragoon's really getting in the way of the Zealots.
Yeah.
He should have been able to get up there a little bit more quickly.
Okay, he does start to attack the hatchery, and then the Mutalisks come. See, he was afraid of a Mutalisk counterattack. That's why his Corsairs are so far out of position. Brings them back now, though. That is a lot of Mutalisks and Scourge.
Oh, my God. Well, this is what it's going to come down to here.
Oh, my God.
Is who can kind of take the fight first. This can really go either way, by the way. This is, you know, if the Scourge get the connections perfectly on the Corsairs, then the Protoss loses. If the Corsairs can snipe the Scourge, they get to kill the mutas immediately.
That felt like a pretty, like, perfect hold from Killer. Looking at how he did that, like, he zoned everything really well. He waited, knowing the Corsairs couldn't be right over the Zealots, so like they were at maximum distance, basically. I'm not feeling very good about Bisu's position anymore in this game. It felt magical at the beginning, but magic's not real, Tasteless.
I think it's definitely not real in this game. Only my mentalist tricks are real.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
And that's not true magic. He's going to try to come in and hit him. Now, again, look, if Zerg loses this air, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my god, he hits almost all the Corsairs, excuse me. Now the Mutas can snipe the Templars. This has been a familiar theme in the season of ASL. He does get almost all the Mutas, but we're going into Hydra Tech here.
It really seems like with this many hatcheries, the amount of drones he's making, he's taking a 4th base. Bisu, like, just lost 2 High Templars. He's still making Corsairs, which aren't going to help him. I think he's falling into a hole he's not going to come out of, Tasteless.
Yeah, this is really the story of why you don't see any kind of like standard 2-gate play. If you see 2-gate play, like off 1 base, you see it's Mini doing that crazy all-in where he gets a Reaver really fast.
Very memorable.
What a novel opening, and it kind of just crazy to see, of all people, Bisu doing this. Bisu's, you know, in my mind, and maybe for you guys watching at home, he's kind of the player that never won bases ever. You know,
True.
He's one of the best fast expanding players. He's kind of the guy that gave us fast expanding as we know it. We've seen so many Zealots killed in this game.
Yes.
I wonder if we could ever find the number out, but it's got to be like dozens at this point in time.
For sure.
Basically, Zerg just gets so far ahead and is able to tech so much more freely. They get that tempo advantage with the Mutas. The Protoss have to stay back. They have to get the cannons. They have that late second gas, so the Templars are slowed down. And when Killer won the fight with the Corsairs, which really comes down to the Corsairs able to, you know, connect on, or sorry, the Scourge able to connect on the Corsairs, that's it. And so I would say this is a pretty impossible position from Bisu. Let's see how he plays it out, though.
If he wins this game, that'll be incredibly, incredibly impressive. I guess, you know, getting to kill that bottom right base is obviously huge. He has lost a ton of Zealots. There's so many Mutalisks out here, but he actually refilled his Corsair count. And I think that this is one of Bisu's super strengths, is he's the best Corsair player in the world by a good margin. Yeah. And, like, he'll generally not lose that many. And then also, he'll build them at times where a lot of players would stop and be like, nah, I'm going to go more into Psystorm and stuff here. So he's sitting here on 2 Archons, which are supposed to catch these Scourge for him. And look at that. Like, the Archon's doing an okay job. He's got tons of Corsairs. He actually added a second Stargate. If Killer stays on these Mutas, that might be the path for Bisu to actually win this game.
Did he actually get a second Stargate? I missed that.
He did.
That's crazy.
That's crazy at this point, right? Like,
I feel like we never see that.
No, never at this point in the game. But that's what we're seeing. Hopefully, for Killer's sake, he's going for +2 flyer carrier base, I tell you. And look at this. He has to cancel that 4th base out. This is one of the most different games I've ever seen from Bisu.
Yeah, this is insane. And he's gone for double Archon. You know, a lot of Protoss players, they just try to get Templars, and they'll sacrifice making the Corsair production, and maybe that's how they end up losing, but he just kind of doubles down on having this raw strength on the ground. The Archons, by the way, if you're good with their control, they can catch, like, all the Scourge. Like, it's crazy. They can, like, 1 or 2 shot an entire group of Scourge if the Zerg's not looking. So it really puts a lot of strain on the Zerg trying to control stuff. The Zealots are going to come down here in the bottom right. You know, it's so funny. This game could only be played by Bisu. Nobody quite can look like this in a game. There's the Archons zoning the Scourge. This is so crazy hard to do. I can't even believe this. My God, he wins the fight.
Dude.
No way.
Those Mutas are done.
Those he just snapped those Scourge.
Yeah, yeah. And now it's like 11 Mutas against 11 Corsairs and even more. Oh, my God. Tasteless. He's going to destroy these Mutas. And now he has so many Corsairs, he might be able to go across the map and, like, delete a lot of these Overlords. But it has been a switch into Mutalisks. I mean, into Hydralisks.
Yeah. Well, this is where the big test is going to be, because usually if Protoss loses, it's during the Hydra Tech. He did win the fight versus the Mutas, but it's like, what, we're like 16 minutes and 40 seconds in? Finally, that fight's over. but he needs a Psystorm. It's very unlikely that Bisu can muster enough just Zealots to take on this many Hydras.
No, that's like critical mass. If you don't have splash damage against that, nothing's going to beat that. They pack themselves in, and their DPS is super high. It's like just something that can happen to melee units where you have so many range units in a ball that the surface area will never be correct to beat them. And I feel like we're at that level with these. So the Psystorms coming out of these High Templars are going to be incredibly crucial.
Okay, well, he hasn't... Oh, gosh, is he going to take a 4th base here? This is kind of crazy. I think there's a pylon up here. Yeah, at the 4th. He needs just 4 Templars. Oh, the DT could be very handy if he can run right through. So he's going to see this push coming. I guess he decides to just go ahead and hit what he can here. The Overlords are going to come in here. No way to intercept that, so that thing's going down. Great targeting on the Mutas.
Okay.
Remember, this is so many Corsairs, it's almost impossible to actually snipe a Templar. Like, if you get in range of the Corsairs, the Mutas get deleted.
And look at this. Any Overlords on attack move, like he is going to crush here as well. Dude, they try to come in for the snipe. And he actually snipes them both, Tasteless. The Hydra's got one, the Muta's got the other, and now he's got no Psystorm with that army. He does have 4 High Templars down there. This is so many Hydralists. Oh, my God.
Okay, he's going to move in. Oh, he loses another one and another one.
I don't think he has Psystorm.
I have yet to see a Psystorm.
I don't think he has it.
Are you kidding me? No.
Yeah, he doesn't have it, Tasteless. That's 4 High Templars not doing anything. That, dude, he didn't make Psystorm.
No, he did not get the upgrade. He was cutting so much Templar tech that he just didn't get it. That's insane. I don't think we've actually seen an ASL game like this, or if we have, it's been so long I can't remember, where a player just literally didn't have Storm.
That is...
I can't believe that's how this game ended. This is crazy.
That is the most brutal thing ever.
He would have held that. This was one of the best games I've ever seen into one of the biggest fails.
Yes.
Now, oh my God, he has Overlords here. I thought he'd killed all the Overlords. That's it, GG. Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Well,
you know, it's funny. I saw the first Templar get sniped, and I thought, okay, and then another one. And then when he came to the natural, I thought, okay, well, he's got at least one Storm on one of these two. And then the one that had the Storm, or like the energy for the Storm, I should say, got sniped. And then it became very obvious, oh, he just doesn't have the upgrade.
Yes. That is so painful. Like, you know that he most likely... The thing is, the game was so busy, there's a possibility you didn't click it, but it also... You know, this happens sometimes where you go for an upgrade and you're just barely short on the money and you don't realize because so many things are going on. All of us have had that moment, you know? No matter what race you play, occasionally
literally
you'd be like,
at least one game on my stream every time, Artosis, it happens. It's crazy. It's like Groundhog's Day where I just can't get the upgrade.
Man, craziness.
You know, never let someone tell you that both pros are always playing perfectly. They have the same mistakes that we have sometimes. It's crazy to see that in a super important best of one here that could ultimately lead to Bisu being knocked out of this season. Guys, short break, then the winner's match, Light vs. Killer. We will be right back.
Strangers and lovers in the highest heat of summer, talking mid-July. It was only for a weekend, it was hands we weren't keeping in sunset sky. No, moving on, moving in, no, picket fence, sweating rain. No, we didn't stay together, know that it was for the better. We damn sure would've ruined it. Topless, yeah, you and I, we were priceless, like sugar sweet Russian. Could've never made it anything, 'cause we never could've ever been honest. We'd never make it to August. We're here to the moment, could've never made it anything. if we made it more than a third day? What if we took it all the way up? Sometimes at late nights you're crossing my mind. Sometimes I feel like I should reach out. Would that be stupid? Would I just ruin it? Would I just ruin it? I wanna call you up, but it's never gonna be that timeless. Yeah, you and I, we were priceless. Like sugar sweet Russian. Could've never made it anything, 'cause we never could've ever been honest. We'd never make it to August. We're here to that moment. Could've never made it anything, 'cause we never could've ever been. What if we could've? What if we should've stayed on that beach in Barcelona? What if we made it more than a third day? What if we took it all the way up? Sometimes at late nights you're crossing my mind. Sometimes I feel like I should reach out. Could've never made it anything, 'cause we never could've ever been.
I'm dreaming after you, chasing you in my sleep, babe. You know it's early afternoon, but it's the only way that I'll finally see your face. 'Cause I've been thinking about the days when you were mine. No set of rules, and I've been dreaming as a way of passing time with me and you. Wake me up, wake me up. Dreaming after you, loving you is my problem. I'm singing to your tune, hoping that you can follow the sound waves. 'Cause I'm already pouring my heart and soul into your wish you will. And I would never go the lengths that I've gone for you for anyone else. Wake me up, wake me up.
Welcome back, everybody. What a roller coaster this has been emotionally today. I mean, these games have been crazy. These are like, these are games that are, a lot of it is hinged on, you know, not doing what you basically need to do to ever be, like, not even an ASL player, but like an S-rank player, an A-rank player. You know what I mean? It's just, did you get all your upgrades? Did you get everything you need? And there it is. Storm had started moments ago. No doubt Bisu probably thought that he had upgraded that probably around when the third base was going up, or even before that. It's also possible he had canceled Storm more than even once to maybe squeeze out an extra Corsair. You know what I'm saying? It's it was a very unusual PVZ in how it started, and then also just how it continued to develop. I've never seen anybody quite go as hard in the paint with just Corsairs and Zealots for that long. And also just seeing Killer kind of not back down for that long with his own Mutas and Scourge.
So, Tasteless.
Crazy game.
Yeah, I think, honestly, we're being trolled. It's April Fool's Day, and Tyson should have beat Light, and then Light snuck a win, and then Bisu should have beat Killer, and then Bisu fumbled a win. And it's like, literally the results are backwards from what they should have been watching the games.
It's a bad time travel movie. I'm like, which timeline are we in now? It's like the one where Bisu forgets Storm. No!
Well, we're going to go to Polestar here for a Terran versus Zerg. Really excited to see how Light's going to play this. Let's go.
ASL Season 19.
Okay, Light here in the bottom right and Killer in the bottom left. Before we get into this game, guys, we need your support. If you love StarCraft 1, if you love the history of esports, if you love Tastosis and myself, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/ASL English. We would not be able to do this without you guys. We are so happy to do this for as long as you guys keep supporting us. So please consider checking out our Patreon and pledging your support.
Yeah, big thanks to everyone, guys. Couldn't do without you, and, you know, absolutely loving casting ASL every season. This is like the two of the big highlights of my year for sure. It's just so much fun, and the games this season so far have been phenomenal. And like today's delivering as well, even though they're like crazy results. These have definitely been highly entertaining games, so it's wonderful to see Brood War in such a great spot.
Yeah, it's this is just the perfect game. It creates for so many incredible moments. I think, you know, there have been countless games that have tried to recreate this, and few have gotten close.
Indeed.
So yeah, I appreciate the support on Patreon, guys. We love you. Thank you so much. In this game, it's going to be Killer going for a hatchery right away. Light is not going for any kind of command center first. He's making a barracks in his main. On this map, Tastosis, how do you feel about TVZ?
I think it's just a good map in general. There's nothing about it that's super challenging. I guess the one thing, if your natural points towards Zerg, the naturals are a little bit hard to block Mutalisks on. So, like, basically, like, it's very, very tight on one side of each of the minerals. So it's just like, it's a little bit tough if they dedicate their Mutalisk Craftsman, but it's not crazy. It's not the worst map ever for that either. So, like, it's a big map. It's got a lot of bases on it, so you can definitely get these really kind of dynamic, crazy games where there's hatcheries going up everywhere and you're trying to kill them, like, you know, drop ships all over the place. I think Polestar is just another in a line of really great 4-player maps that the map makers have made. I was actually talking about this some the other day where if you look at it, it's like we've had Polypoid, Vermeer, Radion, you know, to some lesser extent, Retro, right? Now we have Polestar. We've just had a lot of really good 4-player maps that give solid games. Deja Vu, too. Like, Deja Vu is a pretty solid map, I think.
Yeah, I like the variety of just good 4-player maps. I think this is a very welcome addition. I do think the map makers have just gotten better in general lately. The very early days, we've talked about it a bunch, but I mean, the maps are just too crazy. And I think it's nice that we've just taken kind of more standard map ideas and then thrown something exciting inside instead of just taking, you know, 8 or 9 crazy ideas and making a map that, like, it might make for 1 or 2 crazy games, but it's probably, we're not there in StarCraft where we can really unpack a map like this and understand it and maybe have the kind of games we could have had if we kind of move at a better pace here as far as map creativity and new ideas goes.
Now, Light is doing a 4 Marine pressure. This is pretty popular right now, but you have to be careful. If they have enough Zerglings to kill this off when it gets there, you get behind his Terran, but, like, he has all the Lings chasing his SCV, so he's going to get in here. He's going to kill at least a couple drones. Like, Light takes a big advantage right there. That was... Oh, he actually doesn't get the second drone. Yeah, he'll try to turn around and get away now. But this is like... This has become a somewhat standard move in Terran vs. Zerg, is one of these little push-outs. And that's... It's like, you just kind of look at it positionally. It's like, okay, he doesn't have an Overlord over my natural, so you try the push-out. realistically, Killer should have had a Ling in front of his base. That was a little bit sloppy, and he paid for it, and Light has a bit of an advantage right now, but not game-ending.
I was wondering, when he saw the Spire, after killing the SCV, does it ever make sense to just make a Lurker Den and cheese here? Or do you just want to commit to that?
No, you'd have to
attack?
get so lucky to have that work. It could definitely get them, like, they'll make turrets kind of blindly, and they'll go for later comsat. But when the mutas don't come, they'll scan and see it, and it's like, I would put Zerg behind in a position like that. I think it's not very worthwhile. There's definitely some mind games that you can do if you want to try Lurker and stuff, but most of those, the good ones, involve having 3 hatcheries.
Got it. Well, the eBay is going to come here. Light, again, looking like just very solid. We were talking about this earlier, but his style at times feels a little bit old, although I guess today it's been really, really fresh. A lot of the ideas he's brought here, I mean, seeing that kind of Marine Range bunker rush is going to completely change the entire ecosystem on the ladder for people that are going to go for that gas, steel, and Nexus first. But this game is sizing up to be more of a power-up, push-out kind of macro game that I think Light is best known for.
Well, this is kind of how you play SK Terran at the moment. You put on a little bit of pressure, make sure that they're not being too greedy. He's going up into the 3 barracks play, getting his turrets up, getting range and +1. So everything's really, really standard. And as long as he blocks these beat as well, which it looks like everything is perfectly on time. We just kind of watch where he wants to go from here, because his factory should be starting in 20-30 seconds. And then we'll see, it's like, okay, does he want to try like a Valkyrie timing? Does he want to just go into science vessels? There's a few other choices for him there.
So Killer's looking over here. Can't get anything done in the main. The turret spread's pretty nice. He's got doubled up turrets in his main over here now, but as well as at the barracks here. And Light just basically wants to kind of keep a line that's going to be... how do I say this? It's like he wants to make a wall of Marines and not have any that are kind of sticking out, any medics that are exposed, because once you have anything that's dangling or hanging out, like a loose Marine, that's when you can snipe it and pounce on it.
Totally. That's how you can tell someone's really good at the matchup, is when they keep a flat line of Marines facing the Mutalisks. There's a lot of positioning and repositioning.
Is there a technique to doing that? I mean, is there like do you want to try to just like move them slightly and hit hold, or how do you go about making them move like this?
I think everyone just kind of does it their own way, where you're just kind of watching the mutas and trying to reposition and pull things that are out back. Like, there's a little bit of an art form to it too. Like, if you have one out and the mutas, you see the mutas turn, you can like pull it back, and then they have to pull back, and a lot of attention there.
Nice snipe on the muta. Trades that out. The natural has been seized by Killer, by the way. And we've seen this rotation of like where you want to take your third base and TVZ over the last couple of years. It's been really interesting because Zerg want a third base, but they're always trying to stay ahead of wherever the meta is to go to the more unpredictable spots. So it used to be the mains for a while. Then it was like obscure locations that like, maybe like a 12 o'clock spot where it might not be scouted. And now it's gone to naturals almost in a kind of Protoss versus Zerg-esque matchup way, where you kind of get that base at the natural, and now you get the main for free.
Yeah, people
but
really
it is
prefer
scouted by
that.
that SCV.
Yeah. The mutas actually jump onto the turrets here. He took a lot of damage there and didn't get that much value for it. But he has a lot of Lings and mutas now that he's bringing out, so he's getting ready to try to crush an army. This is actually very cool to see, and Light actually just got a perfect scan, so he knows to sit tight. Like, when you see that many units being fielded by your opponent, you have to make sure you have critical mass. Because otherwise, like, if your entire army gets cleared once, you're really far behind. That's why Sulky's such a killer in this matchup, because he always does it. Oh no, don't attack the natural. What are you doing? This is crazy. Why would he do that?
Why would he do that?
I was just about to go on a talk about how Killer is like really underrated and he can put out these really strong games. That didn't make sense at all. Why would you do that, man? It's a bunker and all of his Marines are right up the ramp 2 inches from it. Like, there is no universe in which that works. That's so sad.
Not only does it not work, but like it worked. It did not work so badly where even the bunker stayed alive. Like, there was literally basically no value. I almost wonder if that was like a bad hotkey or something.
No,
like
he
was
meant to
trying
do
to
that.
pull that off, but
Yeah,
but I mean that was really bad.
he wanted to get the bunker.
Had he just stayed back.
Oh, does he have his Hydras up forward? So
Yeah.
he's like, I think he wanted to reduce the Marine count then a little bit. I think that's what his idea was. He wants the Lurker contain win, which is like, Light is just barely going to get up here in time to deny it, it looks like. That's like one of the freest wins. If you just line up Lurkers in front of your opponent's natural and they didn't get an add-on, they'll lose. And he gets out here. He sees what's going on. And Killer's going to attack in. Those Lurkers are about to come out. See, that's why he's scanned right there.
Seems like he timed this out just incorrectly. The Lurkers are going to get out just as everything else is there. Okay, he does get the burrow.
Okay.
But you really need Lings with this. It's that third piece of the army that kind of makes this, able to advance. And with the Lurkers pushed back here, this is certainly not the Lurker contain that Killer wanted to do.
Oh, that's kind of a cute position right there. Yeah, he should probably just run those back. Like,
I think he was trying to get him to chase the 3 Lurkers on the side so he could run the 2 Lurkers up into the main.
oh, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe run him up, hit the natural minerals or something like that. The bunker doesn't really block that. Okay, he's actually going to get... No. Are you really going to run into the bunker again?
No.
Well, I guess
mean,
he gets it this time.
I guess he doesn't have vision of all of them either.
Huh.
Well, hold on a second.
But these can be broken.
Oh.
These can be broken. Like, this is... And, in fact, the unburrow there was, like, definitely a big misstep. Like, Killer is just being too aggressive. Wow, GG. Okay.
Yeah, he fumbled the ball there. I mean, big time.
He actually was in okay positions, too. But, like, he was so aggro. My God.
Yeah. Huh. Strange game. It seems like it was almost a self-inflicted wound. I don't know why this keeps happening in our games today, but yeah, he tried to force something against one of the players in all of StarCraft 1 who kind of doesn't break.
Yes.
Very rarely do you see, someone pull a fast one on Light. This is kind of how you become a god tier Terran, is every trick in the book you've got an answer to early on. This was another funny moment because you could see what he was trying to do. Keep in mind, guys, eggs actually tank a crazy amount of damage. Marines almost can't kill them.
Yeah.
And it's like he set up, and this was about 2 seconds too early from what it looked like.
Yeah, you want to time out this
in,
attack with the Lurker eggs finishing.
So they're supposed to have hatched like a second ago, 2 seconds ago.
Yeah. Definitely was.
And instead, it's like, all right, well, we don't have anything here. Granted, they still finish. But if you have all your mutas and your lings with this, it's a very different story.
Yeah.
Keep in mind as well, with that number of Marines, you probably could have gotten the Lurkers to burrow, and then with the lings and mutas, taken out a lot more and maybe advanced and maybe pulled something off.
Yeah. And this actually, looking at this, he was on 24 drones this whole time. And, like, that's why he attacked the bunker before. Like, he was just trying to reduce stuff so he could just get a Lurker win, which is, like, this is old
question.
meta. Yeah.
But before this goes off screen here, could he have just ran the Lurkers above the minerals? At the natural?
That
feels
can
like there
be
was
a good move.
This opening there.
Yeah.
Lurkers can fit back there, right?
Yeah,
I felt
yeah,
like if he had
they
run
can.
in the corner to the top right, I felt like the Marines probably couldn't have fought it as easily.
Yeah, it gets a little bit tricky. You have to run your SCVs, but he was, like, low on drones, so he was just trying to end the game there. That was weird decision-making. But Light advances, and I guess we'll go over to an interview with him now.
You're watching Group D of the round of 24 of ASL Season 19, as we have our first player advancing through to the round of 16. It's Light. Congratulations. Thank you. You managed to secure 2 straight wins in a TVZ and a TVP to succeed in advancing today. How are you feeling? I aimed to play with a relaxed mindset. The game seemed to have gone well in my favor, better than I expected, so I advanced with ease, and I'm in a good mood. It was a quick day for you as you advance. Nonetheless, you faced some struggles in the early game against Tyson. You got cheesed, though you handled that, and then failed with your bunker rush. But regardless of that, you must have seen an angle where you would come out victorious. I thought I had lost whenever he defended, but with him going for carriers, I thought there's one timing for me. I think luck was also on my side there, and I managed to win. Your crisis management skills stem from this vast trove of experience you have. You likewise dealt with Killer's quick Mutalisk build in the winners match to get a clean win. You had a tough time in the qualifiers, but in contrast a very easy time in the round of 24, which makes me curious about the round of 16. How do you think that will go? Even when I'm playing at my best, I have slipped in the round of 16 in the past. I have slipped in the round of 8 too, which was regrettable. This season, I've said this a number of times, but I want to overcome that and go even farther. A lot of fans will be waiting impatiently for a season where you manage to leave those personal regrets behind. And today, even your family showed up to the studio, which must have been a source of strength. Yeah, my kid is starting to walk now. We spend the whole day together. It's only been a week since my kid took their first steps. Keeps asking me for hugs and hangs around all the time. It's tough, but my kid is so pretty. I'm doing well. Daddy gets off work early today, so you guys can spend some time together, hopefully. What are you going to show your fans this season? Do you have any words for the fans or your colleagues? After my championship run, I would slip a lot in the round of 8 and the round of 16. But when I won, Eclipse was in the map pool. It's a map I have good memories on. I'll try and win this season once more. Looking forward to seeing you play this season. Congratulations on advancing. Thank you. And that does it for our interview with today's first place finisher Light. We'll take a short break and come back with the losers and decider matches.
Stop it, man. I saw it first. My Lord. Nah, back off, man.
The first time I saw you, I knew I had to have you. Don't mean no one night stand. Gotta find a way to be a man. It's something about the way you turned and looked at me. Your smile, it turned me on and set my mind at ease. I'm trying hard not to stare, don't wanna look thirsty. Just trying to play it cool, gotta show you that I'm worthy. You walked in all the air and seemed to leave this room. I just had to find a way to get next to you. I'm here to testify, give me a chance, I'm satisfied. Captivate your heart and I'll blow your mind. Don't wanna pass me up, cause I'm one of a kind. So you're checking me out, trying to figure out what I'm all about. Wondering if my love will make you scream and shout. If I don't know at first, I'm gonna figure it out. Wolves howling at the moon, peacock and acting like a fool. I'm bothered as you sit through all the nonsense they throw at you. That type of thing don't interest me when it comes to you. I can't wait to show you that my love is true. Don't wanna miss my chance. Would you mind if I took your hand? Out on the floor, baby, let's dance. Extended cut, DJ, make it last. We're the only ones in here, we're so into this groove. Intoxicated by the way our bodies move.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time to go to the elimination match. We got a PvP coming up here.
Yeah, this could be pretty fun. I do think that Bisu is quite a nice PvP player, but I've seen some Tyson PvP lately, and it's been good too. Like, he plays a pretty solid game, so not sure what we're going to see here. It's going to be on Metropolis. Death Valley and Polestar being vetoed by these guys. So Metropolis PvP, I mean, you know, there's some big areas that you can fly your Reavers in, I guess, there. But I'm not sure how much it'll affect this mirror matchup. I really don't know.
Yeah, I've been really kind of waiting for a PvP on this map. I'm really curious. I hope we got a couple PvPs because some matchups become really interesting on some maps. And I feel like this is one of those maps where PvP, it feels like the guy that takes the first expansion loses, which was like an idea that was passed around a lot in the early days in PvP until people got really good at fast expanding and kind of playing games where you progress safely. But this map, I mean, there's so many things that could be punished from a player who tries to grow too fast that it could make for a real knife fight of a game. You know, one where you kind of want to sit back and just keep pushing, or I don't know. I mean, I'm just super glad we have a PvP on this map for these two.
This is a strange map, man. It's been growing on me a little bit, but it is very hard to play. And I haven't seen a single PvP here yet, so I'm excited to see what these guys are going to bring. Let's get into it. The loser match here, Bisu versus Tyson.
Okay. Bisu, top left. Tyson, bottom left. And, correct me if I'm wrong, Tastosis. See if your memory is the same as mine. We've had a lot of games from Bisu where he's gone for a 3-gate Dragoon.
Okay.
Like a lot on one base. This is not a map where it really makes sense to do that, so we probably won't have that. But on a map like this, it just feels like you've got to go Reaver. It's extremely strong. I feel like DTs, with few exceptions, maybe doesn't make as much sense. This feels like more of a Reaver map than any other map I think we have had in a long time.
I couldn't disagree with you there. The amount of space you have behind the natural, that's kind of hard to get into. And then just like how wide open the main bases are. Yeah, like just drop play in general, I think, is so strong on Metropolis.
Yeah, and I think speed shuttle with Reaver, I should say. Just to emphasize what I mean. Like, what you can do with a speed shuttle, not just dropping behind the minerals, the fact that the mains are big. When you're running from Dragoons with a speed shuttle and Reavers, it'll run away faster than the Dragoons. So you can run, drop, push the Dragoons again, pick up, and run away again. So it just feels like a map where great control is going to be punished. And most other maps, like you look at Polypoid, which I think is probably the most standard map right now, you can always get an expansion up. You don't have to go Reaver if you don't want to. If you can play a really clean game, you could go DT Tech and get ahead. But this map feels pretty brutal for that.
I see what you mean. Yeah, you have like a lot of distance in that main base to micro back a Reaver. And like you could technically put your goons kind of way at the end of your base, but then the speed shuttle can very quickly switch to helping your opponent's Dragoons actually attack in your natural, so your units would be super out of position. So yeah, that does kind of make sense. And if a game like that were to occur, it would probably more likely be in Bisu's favor, just because that kind of empty, almost worthless area for Tyson is facing towards Bisu.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard you compare this before with, it's almost like you see it the same way like a Terran would see Mutalisks from. I don't think it's as punishing as that. I think you can always loop around and hit from other sides, because a lot of times what you're doing is you're setting up for a push and trying to get them in position, and then you just try to run into the main or run into the natural.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. A lot of times it's kind of dependent, not just on where the shuttle can fly in, but about if the Dragoons can push out. And, PvP is funny because obviously Dragoons, they can fight shuttles and Reavers and everything like that, but you don't really have a lot of Dragoons right away, right? Especially if you're on one base or getting a second base. So if you leave your base, oh, nice, he kills the scout there. If you're leaving your base with your Dragoons, if you don't have like maybe 2 to 3 back there, a shuttle and a Reaver can take that out.
Yeah.
So again, I'm very interested in how this is going to be approached. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for the Stork build, and oh my god, he got a Citadel.
Okay,
oh,
so
there it is. I was going to say.
Tyson,
who even has it?
Tyson is going Citadel. I think it's a
Wow.
robo for Bisu.
Let's see. I was going to say I think that both will do a Stork build, which is where you get a robo and then a second gateway in your base. And you're not expanding necessarily that fast, but you're not weak to anything.
Why is that a Stork build? Is that like something he was known for in PvP?
Yes, he was very well known for doing. He's even done it in ASL to this day. It's like a very conservative. Like, I'm not going to die to DTs. If I need to do a push later, I can do that. It won't be the strongest push in the world. I can also expand. It's like if you're going to teach somebody the way to play, it's a really good way to do it. Is you go for fast gas gateway, then a robo, then another gateway. You try to get information. And so, look, Bisu's going to go for an observer, so he's already in pretty good shape. And this is a build which looks to be possibly a fast expanding Reaver. We'll see if he gets a second gateway or not. But usually you get the observer and the robo support bay at the same time. You're kind of setting up to be safe versus anything as you expo.
Do you actually do that with one gate, though? That seems like so tech-heavy to do that with one gate. And the one thing that I always wonder about for PvP, how do you make the decision? Because when you see the buildings all built like this, oftentimes it goes something like shuttle, observer, Reaver, right? And do you send the observer out? Because that's where a lot of these DT plays can pick up victories you don't expect, where the observer is just kind of out of position when the DTs get there.
So this looks like shuttle, observer, Reaver, and the idea is you get the shuttle, but you should have the observer in time. If it doesn't show up, then you send it out. Now, there may be some, like, gigabrain play here where he tries to go around. I've seen that before, and this is that play. God, I think the only time I've ever seen this was G5. I don't think I've seen this in a pro match.
Just running those DTs around.
Yeah, you just run them around the one observer. I'm sorry, where is the observer?
He hasn't made it yet. We've been, like, watching this. He has a Reaver being made, clearly. So the DTs...
Yeah, well, he's getting the...
Yeah, so there's the Reaver. He probably has an observer started right now, but that's a lot of damage that can occur in that time.
That's crazy. He's going to have to send this back. You just saw Bisu shake his head.
Dude.
The observer is not going to get out before these DTs have done so much damage.
This is so bad.
And it seems like... Yeah, it seems like Bisu basically... Okay, there's that observer. Was a little bit too greedy and kind of thought... And he might have even have made shuttle speed here off the one base. I'm not totally sure.
This... how do you ever come back from this? He lost so much.
Oh, look at how far the DT can run in the main here, too.
I think he killed like 15 probes.
Well, there's the shuttle speed. So hold on a second, Tastosis. Hold on.
Okay.
We were kind of talking about this earlier. If you have your Dragoons moving across the map, you don't have anything back at home. A Reaver can kill probes a lot faster, than the DT can. So he gets the one Reaver out. He drops his Zealots here basically as bait. He somehow only gets one probe with that shot. Fires another shot at the Dragoon because he will kill it with that. Workers have been pulled. The majority of what Tyson has is still here, though. He drops again. He gets what looks like a... Okay, great shot there. So this is what I was trying to allude to earlier, is that these mains are so big, you can kind of run away. He's probably going back to get a second Reaver. No, he's going to loop back in. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I hope we catch this on camera. Okay. Oh, my God. You see what he's trying to do, right?
Yeah.
He's looking for the probes. Oh, my God. They're just going to barely get by.
Well, he made Tyson turn around completely with his probes. There's a lot of lost mining time there. Tyson still has way more probes than Bisu. He has a lot of, like, Dragoons in here. Ooh! I don't know where this really goes from here. I feel like Bisu has already done a lot to start fighting back, at least. Just getting some probes, some lost mining time, picking off a few extra units. Those are really important things that he just pulled off with that Speed Shuttle Reaver.
I will say, from the perspective of Tyson, it's not a comfortable game. He doesn't have observers. He doesn't know where his opponent is. Right now, he's got observers, so he can stalk the army. He also can kind of see, okay, you're out on the map, then your main's not protected. I think Bisu basically wants to try to shut down a push in the front, and then he can probably try to get somewhat of a lead here.
Yeah, if he can
Dragoon
smash
Reaver
this...
in a tight angle.
Ooh.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you can't break through there. It's impossible.
No way, no way. Great shot. Pops one Dragoon.
I'm actually kind of excited for this Tyson going through this. It's like kind of cathartic. I'm like watching a guy that like should win these games. He gets way ahead and then he's like, I don't know, and then he just loses anyways. It's like kind of reminds me of my own ladder streams, but
yeah.
It's kind of crazy because like he killed so many probes. You would think that that turns into a victory, and now Bisu is just like outplaying him everywhere at once.
Oh man. Dude,
Tyson
this is
sneaking
so
a base.
Smart.
I love that. Yeah.
In really tight games like this, PvP, you actually have the least intel. It's very hard to get an observer over there, especially when you don't have map control. That's when hidden bases are kind of the best. He also went for a robo. That's very, very cool. So I think he's realizing, okay, he probably can't just go blind Dragoons and play this out because the intel advantage, as well as shuttle speed, if you see an opening, you can get there before your opponent can. The DT is going to try to run in. Is there an observer back?
There is an observer, but it's only 2 goons.
Oh,
so
my God. But there's only 2, and 1 Dragoon is a pacifist.
So he's actually microing elsewhere, so he didn't even notice. So this is possibly going to get a lot of probes up here. Bisu has not noticed. Okay, just noticed, just now. So 3 kills already on this, and that's some great micro from Bisu. He actually glitched it a lot, but that's 5 more kills. So Bisu's probe count is still pretty garbage.
Yeah, he's working with very little right now, but he does have a tactical edge with the shuttle and the Reaver if he can find those opportunities. And I think that Tyson is kind of being a genius right now by just sort of staying back. He's got a roaming group of Dragoons, and then he's got stuff on his high ground that just will never lose to Reavers. And so what Bisu's doing is he's starting to hunt down these stray Dragoons and try to pick them off. Now, he's got to be careful because he could be chased right back into the hidden base that he's trying to keep, so he's going to try and move up. He does run into a pylon, so we can take that out.
Shouldn't he mine out
Bisu's
those minerals there so that he can move up and down the ramp more cleanly against possible Reaver pushes?
Yeah, sure. I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Okay, that's all I had to say, Tastosis. You go ahead with the PvP.
I do feel like Dragoons, it's not that terrible getting them up and down ramps if they're not fighting. It's when they're fighting that's a real headache. But yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense. Just make that a bigger exit, make it easier for you. Bisu has not seen the base, so he may think that he's actually steadily expanding ahead. But he's probably also suspicious at this point in time. When the game feels too quiet and too good to be true, you want to start to look for hidden bases. A great counterattack, by the way, with these Dragoons. There might not be enough to defend over here.
Kind of smart, but Bisu is hunting down this other group, so if he can kill that off, that would be pretty big. Now, Tyson pushing in. There is another Reaver that just popped out for Bisu, so I think he will end up holding this, but he's losing some more probes there. Not that many, though.
I think Bisu might come in here to intercept. By the way, they are even on base numbers, but there are more resources in the main that's been taken here. So there's more probes over here. Beautiful Reaver usage over here. Just thins out these numbers, keeps the 2 Reavers alive. So Tyson has more workers and he has more patches to mine from. So this is why Tyson is starting to get further ahead in the gateway count. We're getting up to, I think, 5 or 6 gateways back at home for him.
Bisu is like kind of out-maneuvering and out-controlling Tyson, though. This almost feels like a game where, first off, if Bisu like ends up winning because he disables the army really well, it could almost be one of those games where you're like, you had a hidden base. He's like, what? Right? Those are always really kind of funny, but also like I could see him scouting that way later and be like, oh, that's why this game is so hard. I felt like I was killing him.
By the way, Bisu is not going to have to deal with Reavers. This is what you were talking about earlier, Tastosis. Like, this is so hard to fight.
Yeah, how do you
I
even
think he's just
approach
going to
that?
deny the Nexus. And look, you could actually just pick him up and run back. It's like, what are you going to do now? Whoa.
Wow, just barely saves it. That was one Reaver hit from death, that Nexus. Now it's actually really
Bisu
hurt.
gets shuttle scarab damage. Sorry, Artosis, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think he probably should, but you got to imagine that Tyson's thinking about Psystorm at some point here as well, which does become a pretty reasonable counter against the Reavers.
Yeah, that's basically when Reavers lose a lot of their oomph.
Yeah,
And
there
so
it
he's
is.
got those Templars coming out now. No scout here at this bottom base, but keep in mind, I mean, this position, just like we were talking about, it's like it's just really hard to defend this. Oh my god!
Yeah, you might want to even leave a couple units back there, like leave a Zealot
Yeah, I
and
think
a
so.
Dragoon or something, just something to like screw it up so it slows down the damage. But here comes this Reaver push now. Bisu kind of going for the throat. I imagine Psystorm is just barely not ready. Also, he needs to mine out those minerals on that ramp. But yeah, Bisu pushing in. He's going to be able to kill this Nexus, it looks like. Throws a bunch of pylons down there, maybe to like aggro shots a little bit. Bisu, I think he's starting to figure out there must be something else on the map. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, look, he's just making a beeline to the
100%.
bottom right. He's like, this isn't right. You can't. Like, you weren't even mining from this and you have that much. This isn't right.
Okay, I think he should know. Oh my god, I didn't even realize these were up here. He's going to keep the shuttle alive. There's a huge counterattack. I don't know how well this is going to go, though. What an insane game this is. Dude. This is a great PvP.
Can his counterattack kill Bisu? Because, like, he's going to lose this base. He can't save this base.
Bisu should go up onto his ramp with the Reavers and the Dragoons and just camp.
Oh, my God, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right. If he gets
literally give
Psystorms,
up your base.
the Psystorms
Now
can really make a difference.
Okay, he needs to get that shuttle active with this fight. I think these Templars are a little bit kind of behind where they need to be. He storms. I don't think the Bisu's even looking at this.
Barely. He needs a couple more good storms in here for sure. Okay, throws a very good one down. Very little actually left. He's going to kill a ton of probes here as well. Tyson has remade his Nexus, by the way. Oh my god, that shuttle has to be low, and so are the Reavers. He's going to pick one Reaver off there. Oh, he gets the shuttle!
Oh my god! I think he can kill it.
An Archon.
Okay, he's got two Reavers alive. I think this Templar has, yeah, that's got energy.
Dude.
Oh,
This is the craziest
he's coming
game.
back. I don't believe that Tyson is mined out, but he's almost mined out in his main. And Bisu would not be as mined out because he lost too many workers because of the DTs at the start. This is an insane game, man.
Tyson really should have beaten Light and Bisu, in my opinion, here. And I think Bisu's so far ahead now that he should be able to win from here, I think. Ooh, nice storm.
I think so. Yeah, the storm was pretty sick.
He better have some more, though.
The issue is going to be, I think Bisu just has too many Dragoons. A lot of these Dragoons are killing off the base in the bottom right. Now, Zealots with speed and Dragoons and Templars, that's a lot harder to control from Bisu. I don't see Reavers moving out, but I would have to imagine, yeah, he's kind of remade that tech. I think he sort of knows for where this game is and how scrappy it's been. The base that Tyson has taken is going to be very easy to hit with Reavers in a way that you just can't really take advantage of with Templars. By the way, Tyson never got shuttle speed or any Reaver tech for that matter. So he can't do these kind of crazy storm drops that can sometimes... Oh my god!
That would have been huge. He does have some Psy storms here. Dude, don't lose those High Templars without casting their storms, please. Just cast one, but Bisu runs away immediately. It looks like we have another set of counterattacks here. Tyson is going to hit first, but the Reavers coming back force him to turn around. I think, dude, Bisu has just really kind of outmaneuvered him.
Yeah, I think the decision-making has been world-class here from Bisu, minus his original build, which was maybe a little bit too greedy. He basically went for the speed shuttle build. And then, the Observer was just late enough it got punished by DTs. But basically everything he's done after this is great. I think this is actually the last few moments of this game here.
I believe so. I tell you, this has been like every game just about has just gone tipsy-turvy on its head the entire time. GG. Tyson loses first, and you can see Bisu's like, oh my god, like that was a hard game. Tyson got really, really far ahead, but Bisu, it felt like strategically, like the plan of Tyson went over perfectly the entire time, and Bisu just like out-finessed him. He out-microed, he out-moved, when Tyson had like every advantage working for him.
Man, I really feel bad for Tyson. I mean, he played so well. And a very different flavor of games from him. But, I mean, Bisu survives. He's going to be going up against Killer here in a rematch.
Yeah. I'm blown away. What a game. That was just a phenomenal PvP. And this man shows why he's the level that he is. Crazy games out of him tonight. He's going to have a rematch against Killer here to see who gets second place in this group, Group D. And I got to tell you, he really outplayed Killer that last time but didn't have Psystorm. I think he's going to be fine this time.
Yeah, let's not forget the way he lost was, super rare to see in an ASL. Anyways, guys, short break, and then our final match. We'll see you in a little bit.
lost in the idea of it all. Too many years I'll be suffering here, burning down right now. And I don't know where I run to, but it could be oblivion. I dream I was making love to a whole new life. Learn my lesson once, I'll skip the reminder of what's left for me. If I turn around, you let me down. I need your validation, I'm here to get my stuff. Picking up the pieces of the puzzle you blew up. Wondering if I could change a thing to make it work, but I won't resurface this hurt. You let me
What's up, everybody? We are back, and we are ready to go into our final match. This is a rematch. Bisu losing to Killer in, honestly, a really cool game until the very last seconds where we realized he forgot Psystorm.
Yeah.
He went for a two-gate play, putting pressure on, denying the third, eventually getting an expand up, trying to counter Killer's mutas. Went hard into Corsairs to counter the mutas. Would not back down. I've never seen a second Stargate in a PVZ, with a game that's gone on for that long. Normally you see two Stargates, it's like really fast. It's like one Stargate and then the other. But he made it work. All he had to do was have a couple storms on the Hydras, and he probably would have won that. But he lost. He's redeemed himself. He's back. Now we're going to go to Radeon.
Yeah, he's lived through some terrible things that have happened to him in this group. So let's see if he can just put out a solid Bisu game on Radeon and advance the round of 16.
ASL Season 19.
Feel the roar, strike like never before. No retreat, no control. We are fire in the soul. Break the wall, make it scream.
Okay, Bisu here in the top left, Killer in the bottom right. Guys, if you've been meaning to do it and haven't already, sign up for the Patreon. Make an account, support us. It means the world to us. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much. We love you guys.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's a big appreciation to everyone who's been supporting for so long. You guys are the best. So, we're cross-spawn here. I think Killer, he's playing pretty well today. I was a little bit disappointed with how aggressive he got against Light, but looking at the replay and seeing the drone count, I kind of understand it more. It was clearly a planned all-in. I mean, if you're sitting there on only 24 drones, you do have to end the game. You can't make that magically go into a macro game. But yeah, I don't know. It felt like he played pretty well against Bisu overall, but Bisu was just kind of outdoing him. It's very similar to the Tyson game in some ways, although Killer ended up winning because of lack of Psystorm.
Right. This game, Bisu is going to be going for, I think, the Gateway Expand. Yeah. So this is Bisu kind of doing what's worked before. I do think that when Bisu pulled out that build on Eclipse earlier, it did almost seem like a move where Bisu's like, he's trying to win the whole tournament, so he's going to pull out some unusual builds he won't be needing for later on. He probably won't try that versus Soulkey or Hero, but against, somebody who's what you might call a round of 24 player, that's something he can pull out that isn't, going to be a useful item to research for his opponents. But now that his tournament life's on the line, he's going to go with what we've seen him do a lot of, which is basically the classic gateway opener, which I actually still feel like Bisu is one of the very best in the whole world at this opener. He knows how to set this up into a lot of different builds. He knows when to run away with the Zealots, when to dive in. Out of all the players that we've had in ASL, he might be the best at just kind of beating the Zerg up with one or two Zealots and kind of controlling what they're doing and forcing more lings and optimizing play.
I would say, because again, I like actually probably Bisu is the Protoss player that I watch and cast the most. And I would say, in my opinion, as someone that's not as expert at this matchup as anyone with Terran in it, but like, it feels to me like Bisu, I would say for sure has the best Corsairs in the world, and I think he has the best Zealots in the world. Like, every time I cast a Bisu game, his Zealots just do more and are in better positions than everyone else's. Maybe I could hear someone arguing for Mini on that, but like, for my money, I think Bisu is the best of Zealots.
I think you're right. There's a lot you can do with Zealots if you can control them correctly. I think a lot of times people think of melee units as like they're not really a skill-based unit, but there's a lot. Even like being able to moving shot a drone.
You're speaking my love language, Tasteless. Melee units are not skill-based units. Like, yes, Tasteless, this is why we're together for so long.
He got one drone immediately. He'll probably run behind the minerals now. And, I mean, that first attack went really, really well. I love how he runs all the way to the edge here.
Yeah.
Gets as much distance. I think a lot of other players would have just gone right in the middle, but he's like, no. Now he knows to try to run back out. He's actually going to come in here for another dive, I think, or maybe even a scout.
Really nice Zealot movement here. The fact that he got a drone and he caused some lost mining time and forced these lings. Already the Zealot's done a good job, and he has a Nexus going up at home. So everything looking pretty solid for Bisu here in the opener.
Doesn't seem like Bisu was too greedy behind this. Went for the Forge first, getting the Cybernetics core. He's transferring his probes now. And we got to see what kind of tech he's going to have. There are a lot of different games you can play post this moment. I wouldn't be surprised if he just went for, Corsairs, with +1 and obviously Zealots with +1 and speed. I feel like that's usually his strongest play. We have had people like Mini who've gone for straight DT rushes a lot off one base and had great success, although we really don't see Bisu trying that very much. Bisu's style maybe a little bit older. Not necessarily worse or better, but something that's worked for him before.
Well, this guy's been around for a really, really long time. When he was coming up as Protoss, he's called the Revolutionist for a reason. He changed how PvZ is played. Like, he's maybe the most impactful player in the history of the game, other than maybe Boxer or something, And honestly, no one, what Boxer taught us, no one does anymore. It's not really that worthwhile. So, like, I would give it to Bisu, honestly.
A lot of what what Boxer taught us was like, you can actually do all this extra damage by just controlling units really well.
Yeah.
Which I think at the time people were kind of like, oh, this guy's like this good with vultures, or he does Marine SCV rushes. But yeah, like, Zerg looked untouchable in the old days. And like everything they had was strong versus Protoss. And Protoss, they couldn't expand, they couldn't do anything. He figured out not only how to expand and do damage with this, but then he also made it so that everything's a weakness, like running Zealots behind the minerals here, which existed before, but not in the kind of macro play we would see now. Realizing that actually the Overlords are the weakness, not the strength, that he can pressure with Zealots and then hit in all these different locations with Corsairs. A lot of people thought DTs weren't even very good versus Zerg because they had a detector at the start, right? I mean, that's kind of like, the StarCraft 101 thing you learn is like, well, you don't DT rush Zerg, you DT rush Protoss and Terran because they don't have detection. But he goes, no, actually, you make Corsairs and then you send DTs in too, and you're kind of hitting them everywhere. He really turned the whole matchup on its head.
Indeed he has, and while we're kind of talking about this, we're just watching like a beautiful Zealot micro. Not that one, but the ones before in the third base were phenomenal. The Corsair actually flew in and saw this is not a Spire build, but instead a Lair Hydralisk build. So, you know, that can mean that he just wants to get Overlord speed very quickly. That could also mean a quick Lurker play. Although, you know, it's obvious that Bisu can't just make Corsairs nonstop here. He's definitely going to have to get into his Psystorm. He's going to have to remember to get that upgrade.
Yeah. Well, this build is... Wait,
Is that 2 Templar Archives?
Did I see that correctly? Yeah, if you saw the same thing I did, I saw it
I
too.
thought I did, but that doesn't feel like something... Well, if he has
How is it
2,
even
then he'll
possible to have
never
2?
forget it. Maybe he wants Kadir and Amulet at the same time.
This is a kind of weird overcorrection. This is...
Yeah. It was like, certainly I won't miss it now.
Okay, so that one's going to finish. Let's see if he finds this. By the way, I mean, that's so much wasted gas.
That is
2 Templar Archives.
How much is it? Is
no
it 150?
People in the YouTube comments, before you even ask, no, there's not like a get Psystorm and the Templar energy upgrade, okay? It's not a thing, so he does cancel it. The Templar Archives, I think it's 200 gas.
Okay. Yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah, it's a crazy amount of gas.
Protoss tech buildings actually do cost a lot of gas.
Oh, it's crazy, man. It's like it's why it's so hard to tech in the right direction in this matchup. If the Zerg can tech switch and just kind of catch you off guard, you just have all these expensive things that can't really do anything. So, with the exception of Templars, a lot of the Protoss units are only good in very specific situations. So,
April Fools.
No, I mean, if you have mass Corsairs and then they just get enough Hydras and kill you, you're gone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
for
like,
sure.
you know, if you get enough Templars and then they get Mutas in there, they snipe that, you're dead. So it's like, it's tricky. And that's why had he finished that second Templar Archives, it would just been so bad because it's already 200 gas down the toilet. So
Definitely
he's
don't
trying
want-
to set up for a little bit of a pressure play here with speed lots and a DT. And he's going to try to come in here.
There's not that many Hydralisks in there. He slips the DT, trying to slip the DT in the back, but it looks like he'll pull that back right now. Just outside of that Overlord vision range, but the Overlords have speed, so he'll move that in and be able to push it back. Pretty good job screwing up the AI with the drones overall, I'd say. Didn't really take that much damage here. He lost a decent amount of Hydras, but I feel like that was a pretty good block.
Yeah, it's always tricky. You know, do you want to commit in there and try to kill workers but possibly lose all your zealots? I was wondering if he was going to go for the evolution chamber. I've seen plays like that where occasionally if the evo chamber is kind of sticking out, there's not a scary amount of Hydras, you just run in there and kill it and run out.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that. One thing I want to mention is the Spire just finished, and he's had 3 gas a long time. I think we are going to see, because there's not that many Corsairs, and he killed one, I think we are going to see a big group of Mutas come out for sniping some High Templar. I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't do that from here. It feels like a perfect time.
And, you know, with the way this game is sizing up, I don't know if he's going to get a Dark Archon. We saw 5 Templars, which seems like maybe a small mistake. But if he goes for the Mutas, I mean, you can try to protect them with Corsairs, but generally, if you don't have the +1 air attack, like you haven't been fighting the Mutas the whole time, I feel like a Dark Archon's usually a good choice to try to catch stuff.
True. Best is the only one that does that all the time. Like, Best will never miss an opportunity for a Dark Archon, really, in any matchup. And there are none in TVP, really, but, you know, I don't feel like I see Bisu that often. Now, if he had let that genius second Templar Archives finish, he could have gotten Maelstrom at the same time, and then I'd be like, yeah, man, you really know what you're doing, but... Yeah.
I think even then he wouldn't have been able to do it with the price of the DTs. It's just, yeah. I mean, you basically got to go Storm and then Maelstrom, and then if you can get the energy upgrade here. But I mean, you know what Killer's got right now looks pretty good. I wish we could get a shot of the main Protoss army. I want to see exactly what he's got. Like, what is that? 5 Corsairs maybe?
Something like that. It's pretty low. It's pretty low. I actually thought he had like 3, but it looks like it might be just slightly more like 4. And he did lose 1 Corsair this game already. Yeah, maybe 4 or 5. 4 or 5 he has there.
Oh, he's keeping 2 Templars back here.
Okay.
Huh.
That's kind of interesting. Is that like in
I've
case
seen it
harassment
also-
comes, or?
I don't know. maybe he realized he overmade and wants to put some back there. I have seen shuttle play, by the way, where you put the Templars in the shuttle.
Yeah.
And when they target the shuttle, you like unload them, and it's like, it's close, but a lot of times, you know, maybe one Templar dies, but the rest live because mutas, the rate in which you can unload a shuttle, apparently, and the rate at which the mutas will do damage to it is enough to pretty much get all the Templars back out. So it's a really weird, frankly, very hard to pull off move, but I've seen it. But we don't have it right now.
No.
So, in fact, we think the Robo is about to finish.
I feel like the way the observer's looking at that, he might think that's a mistake, like that was a misclick. The way that he keeps showing it, it's like, these, like, there's no real reason for those to be there.
Well, it could be a bad rally, and he just so happens to have made 2 Templars, and we're going to see like a Dragoon there and a Zealot, and it's going to become obvious. But yeah, it just seems like a very strange spot. I got to say, you know, Bisu, he's like playing both good and bad today.
Yeah.
Like he's got real moments where he looks perfect, and then these periods where it's like he forgot Storm or he made 2 Templar Archives, and it's like, whoa, man, you're kind of...
He's very relatable today. Today, his games today are like that picture of Keanu Reeves eating a sandwich on a bench or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like, oh, he's a human too. He has to have lunch. Wow, just like me. And yeah, it kind of feels like that, where I'm like, okay, this isn't the perfect play I'm used to. But the Muta's diving in right now, and they do go after the High Templars. He gets a Storm off. That Storm wasn't very good. He will be able to clear those very quickly, and more High Templars are coming down. He's got to storm these Hydras.
Okay, he's hitting, and I mean, where are the Storms? Okay, there's one. There's another wave of Hydras coming up. I'm not clear on the energy for these two. It looks like they actually barely don't have enough. I think Bisu could be in trouble, Tastosis.
Yeah, this is a little bit close. He's going to pull back to his cannons, though. So maybe he can still weather this. Don't forget, Killer's only on 3 base. So if Bisu can hold on 3 base, he's going to be ahead. But that's a lot of Hydras hitting his 3rd.
Okay, he's got another great Storm in between the Dragoons and the cannons. It looks like this last cannon could be picked off. More Zealots are going to trickle down here. I think Bisu might barely have enough.
He
needs to keep having just barely enough Storms. He has to remake these cannons. You know, it's frankly been a kind of sloppy game here. I don't see more Mutas made, by the way, like we saw with True. So the Templars, I think he should just barely have enough Storms. We've got Dragoons coming down. I don't even think there's an Observer in this mix, because why would he need one? He doesn't see any Lurkers.
He just made a big group of Mutas. I just saw his gas go from 1,200 to 500 in the blink of an eye.
Okay.
So I think, unless there's randomly a bunch of Lurkers being made, which this game doesn't feel like that to me, I think we're about to see a bunch of Mutas pop out. I think he probably watched True play. He's like, oh, I want to do that to Bisu.
So, I mean, he's got to make it work again. If he doesn't, it's just a 3-base Zerg. Like, these Zergs look scary, but if they don't get anything done, the Protoss eventually is too powerful. They've got, 20 Dragoons. They've got all the Storms they need and the Zealots, and they can take a 4th base. And, Zerg is very pushable when they lose the fight. There's no Lurkers. There's no Sunks. It's all about what you've got on the middle of the map. Oh, wow. He went for air attack. I feel like maybe that's common. I feel like I haven't actually seen that often, but it makes perfect sense if you're trying to snipe Templars.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Because nowadays it's really common meta to go +2 armor right away, right? So that kind of makes sense when you think about it, that Zerg would counter that with getting a +1 air attack.
I've seen a lot of armor upgrades, in general, if you're going to try to make it work with Mutas, but I guess this is kind of a different approach.
Yeah, it's not about the Mutas versus the Corsairs. It's about the Mutas killing the Templar. Okay.
Right, exactly. Ooh! Okay, actually, crazy Storms, all things considered. I think he's going to keep at least 2 Templars alive.
He does, but how many
is he
Storms?
Get a really... Okay, there's another great Storm. I think he has one more that's about to have energy.
Oh, and he has another one come down. He has a lot of Zealots. Yeah, he's going to crush, I think. That's game. That is game. We're going to see. We're going to see Killer GG. Like, you do not come back from that. Beautifully played by Bisu. It looks scary there for a moment.
He's going to take his 4th base, and this is basically impossible to come back from. Not only is Bisu pushing, but there probably aren't any real powerful defenses back at home. No Lurkers, maybe not even Lurker tech. no sunken colonies. You can see that this fourth base can't even really start. He's going to regroup. He's got to be patient. You want to be careful to not push in too deep if you don't have Psystorm. As long as you have 1 or 2 Psystorms ready to go, you're probably okay, because the Zerg is going to have to try to run away from your Storm while they're taking damage. And you just keep pushing. There it is, GG. So Bisu and Light advance. It's funny. It's like the players that we expected to advance. I think it's the players that we kind of all wanted to advance. No disrespect to Tyson and Killer. But the stories in these games are awesome.
Yes, yes.
I mean, expected results, but the way we got here was crazy.
Absolutely. And this is what I was talking about in best of one. I'm like, anything could really happen in this group. And I think we saw that. Like, Tyson had Bisu dead. Tyson had Light dead. He lost both those games because they're just better players. And, you know, obviously Killer took a game off Bisu there as well. Like, those are... This was a much closer group than I think when you look at the names on paper you would ever imagine.
Yeah. Fun games, man.
Yeah.
Also, you know, I do like how you point out it's like he's very relatable. It's like when you look at different heroes, like in movies, like sometimes it's the action hero that like it looks unstoppable, like Rambo, you know, can't feel pain. But then you have like an Indiana Jones hero where it's like they're barely making it.
Yeah.
That was Bisu here with his
Yeah,
like forgetting Storm in one game and then double Templar Archives in the next.
Yeah. Nah, he showed his level though. It was awesome. Oh, What?
Did he magic box himself?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. That was a little bit dirty. And in fact,
totally
he stormed his
missed that.
own zealots there at the beginning of the battle. This is where Killer actually had potential. This is where he almost got into the third base and everything as well.
Yeah. Great Psystorms. I mean, it's really a testament to Bisu's macro. He's got just enough probes to power out from these gateways and just enough cannons to keep safe right when it looks like he might be destabilized and lose.
Yeah, he really just barely held this. It would have been like a much stronger hold if those 3 High Templars hadn't basically just stormed themselves. You know, if you just add 1 or 2 storms into some of these battles, it's not even close. But of course, that's the strategy that Killer chose. Like, he wanted to do a 3-base Hydra all-in, clearly. And you just have to pick off the High Templars to make that work.
Yeah. Bisu with a lot of Templars made here. We're going to go to an interview now with Bisu. Let's see how he's feeling. He's moving on to the round of 16.
And that does it for Group D of the round of 24 of ASL Season 19, as we have our final player advancing through today. It's Bisu. Congratulations. Thank you. Is this what living in hell and coming back feels like? Watching those games, it felt that perhaps this was the hardest time you have ever had playing in the round of 24. How are you doing now? Going up against Tyson was a true moment of crisis. It was such a bad game, it made me think, that's it, I've been eliminated. I have no idea how I won that. And the last game, likewise, wasn't easy. I put myself on the back foot, I overbuilt cannons, I turned a favorable position into one that was winnable for Killer. This was not an easy day for me. Your fans were causing a riot in the studio with their cheers. If it hadn't been for this support, then perhaps making a comeback like you did would not have been easy. It felt that regrettably losing to Killer in the first game would put you in a sort of handicap. You were late on researching Storm. I have never made such a mistake, not even once. That's what I'm saying. Not in practice, not in tournaments. I have no idea why it happened this time. I was surprised myself. Well, it happens even to pro players. These things happen. The losers match against Tyson was a difficult game that you managed to make a turnaround in, and you got yourself another chance in the decider match. But no sooner had you gone for Speed Shuttle, than started losing probes to Dark Templar. That was not an easy early game. The build I originally came with was Observer into Reaver. I don't know what got into me that made me start with Reaver. I was like, what's up with these games today? If I had gone Observer, that was an unlosable game. Having to fight so hard in a game like that is just so frustrating for me. I'm surprised I actually won. Tyson opted for a hidden base at 5 o'clock. How did you feel when you found that out? I checked the minerals, and he hadn't mined as much, like 200, 300. So it was around the same level as my natural, so I knew as long as I control my Dragoons and Reavers, well, it should be fine, I thought. I could feel the desperation from your fans as they hoped for you to advance and hoped for you to return to streaming. And seeing how you advanced just by the skin of your teeth, you must want to show yourself from a good side. There are people expecting this from me because I was good during the professional days. So I want to work hard. I prepped a lot for today. Maybe because I practiced until the morning that my condition wasn't good. I couldn't sleep much. I will look after myself for the round of 16 and I'll try to do well. And do you have anything to say to your colleagues who likely watched this and cheered for you online? Whether it was on Kakao Talk or here in person, people contacted me saying, do well, play well. I know Terror was co-streaming this to cheer for me alongside our C9 members. There's a university match today as well. So I hope they do well in advance. A lot of fans showed up to the studio today, but also the viewers online were expressing they would like to see you advance and to return to streaming. Do you have anything to say to the fans? See you on stream tomorrow. I guess that's all you need to say. You're streaming tomorrow? I gotta. But you know, I would stream even if I had lost. Yeah, I took a break because of my health. But I've gotten better now. So I'll work hard again. I'll work hard again starting tomorrow. Wait, tomorrow is April Fool's. You're not joking, right? Oh, what a coincidence. No. See you tomorrow. Got it. Good work, Bisu. Congratulations on advancing once more. Thank you. Thank you. And there you have your second place finisher of today's group in Bisu.
All right, guys. Great games today, man. Crazy stories coming out of Group D. This group did not disappoint. Yeah, I'm excited to get back to it again tomorrow, Tastosis, with our next group.
Yeah, can't wait, man. Like, this is just an amazing season. The games have all been really fantastic. You know, when the light killer game was probably the weakest game so far out of 4 groups. Damn, no complaints here.
Yeah. So we've got Bisu moving on. We've got Light moving on as well. Only one Zerg still in the round of 16. Wow. I kind of forgot about that from last week. I mean, if there was any Zerg we needed to have here, it would be Sulky. Obviously, he's you know, automatically in ASL Season 19 because he won Season 18. 6 Terrans and 5 Protosses.
Yeah, but this can turn around. Queen and Jaedong are good bets to win this next group. Like, they are hands down the favorites. I think that Stork and Skay actually have shots here. Stork is always pretty good, and Skay is someone that a lot of people won't know, but Skay's really good, man.
You call him Skay? I thought he was S-Key.
S-Key? What? What, is he a Sulky fan? What are you talking about?
I don't know. No, I thought it was S-Key.
It's
Skay.
Skay.
It's me, Skay.
Skay.
I don't know.
But no, he's a very strong Terran player. So I think there are upsets available here, but Queen and Jaedong, probably both going to go to the next round. And, of course, Hero's in that final group. And Hero has never gone out in the round of 24, I believe.
Yeah, I don't believe so. Well, look, he should just get out no matter what, right? We're going to have a couple Zergs, at least 4, I think, in the round of 16. But, yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to see Skay here today. I guess that's what we're calling him. I welcome players that we don't get to see very much of. Stork, I have low expectations for. He seems like right now he's just always going to be good enough to get into this tournament and never good enough to win it. But who knows? Maybe that'll change.
Oh, I feel bad for Stork. But yeah, he is kind of at that level where he puts out great games sometimes, but you never feel like Stork's making his run. Well, last season, actually, I did feel like that a little bit because his PVT was so good. But this isn't a group where that'll probably help him.
Well, guys, that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you haven't already, please go to the Patreon, sign up, and give us your support. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow with the next group. Bye-bye.